the key moments from the game, and I hope you all enjoy. I want to also highlight someone who I thought was excellent and really justified his place, and I'm glad that he got selected again. It's someone I'm not really sure about because he's always injured, but Robert Balaku really justified his selection. James Lowe, who I've not always been sure about, very good game from him. And then Big Stu McCluskey has three try assists in 2 games. So I think we just focus on the tries a lot, but the assists are just as important. And that big NFL throw was really impressive. But he takes the ball to the line and gets a lovely offload. The way he spins in the tackle and pops it out the back door, brilliant, you know. And without his try assists, we don't win this game. So let's get into it anyway. And I just want to highlight as well how we can use Balaku and James Lowe. The aerial battle is something we're going to need to do. England kick more than any other team. There'll be a lot of kicks coming our way, and we need to be able to deal with them. So start off anyway with the kickoff. So Osborne solid under the high ball, former Ghana player. So we're going to need to use him. Gaelic footballer, you know, the overhead catch. That's something that us Irish should have in our DNA. But this is a really good take, and we set up nicely. And then a big carry from Joe McCarthy, exactly what we want. This man, Thomas Clarkson, you know, he's been dropped, and I think while I like him, I can also understand why. He's made too many mistakes, and at scrum time, not being good enough. Unfortunately, you know, we need our front row to step up. And Finley Beale, one thing you can say about him is he's consistent. So I think that'll shore up things. But Tom O'Toole, Lou said, you know, he didn't play too badly now, in fairness, against Italy, but he also wasn't on for very long. And I do worry because he's a tight head. He's not a natural loose head. Michael Mill, I don't know what he's done to offend Andy Farrell. He played a really good game against a big French pack. And in 20 minutes, he scored a try and was solid in the scrum. So I don't know. He's a loose head. He has played tight head before, but he plays loose head for Munster and has done for Leinster. Tom O'Toole normally plays tight head, so I don't know. For me, this is not the time to be experimenting necessarily, but I also understand that we have a World Cup around the corner. You've got to get the balance right of, you know, playing people. Well, obviously you want to experiment with your team, but I feel like we should be doing that in the November series and the summer series. We never did that. You know, we didn't bring the likes of Jeremy Lockman and Michael Mill and give them enough game time. And then also we have Scott Wilson, who's quite a good player, the tight head for Ulster with the big mullet. You know, I just feel like there's players that we're really not using that we should. The likes of Ollie Jaeger, in fairness, they've had a chance and he's always injured. You know, he's never available for selection. Same with Tom O'Hare, brilliant player, but unfortunately got injured again. But anyway, we roll this on. And a good carry after a good catch. Like, look at that. He's very upright, but we get the latch on and we get going. Really powerful carry. This lad also had a really good game, Cormac Isachukwu. And, you know, he's very impressive. Led the line out very well. You know, it was really good. But here's what I want to. So we see we get a good clear, a good carry, get out of our 22. Casey puts a box kick up, and then Balakoon here in the right hand corner gets up brilliantly for the high ball. And England are going to be putting a lot of high balls our way. So he's very fast. So if he can stay fit, we're sorted. It's not a great kick by Casey, but look at Balakoon. He reads it perfectly and jumps, times it to perfection. And he comes down with the ball, brilliant. And they say a kick's only as good as its chase. That proves it right there because that was a very poor kick by one of my favourite players for Ireland at the moment, Craig Casey. Really good player. And I just feel like we need to be chasing them. We need to be winning the high ball. England are going to be putting a lot of kicks up our way, so we need to be able to catch them cleanly, take them in, and then not get turned over because they're going to try and pile over and put the pressure on us. So the catch is something we're going to need to be doing. Where did you have Cormac Izuchuku and Jeremy Lockman out here? Imagine you put a box kick up and you've got your loose head prop and your blindside flanker chasing it. And then Prendergast here. It's actually not a bad pass into contact. And a good clear out to get in. And then we just take the carry in because they've gotten their hands over the ball. So it's a smart idea. That's a good point there in commentary. When the momentum goes out of the ball, that's when you've got to kick. You look at it here, like Italy have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 defenders. Louis Lina is a speedster. Unlucky not to get a try, but it was definitely forward 100%. If we look to get more width in our attack, maybe we could go wide. But when it's slow ball, you do also have to go to the skies. What I want to highlight here is there's Balakoon again. He doesn't win this one, but he makes a really good hit and he's up in the face of the Italian players, which gets us in a good position. So here he is. He waits and then he makes the hit. Well done. And then Fusco's going to put one in as well. This was actually a good piece of play by Prendergast. He catches it. This is what I'm talking about. He caught it and then great pass to Jamie Osborne on the fly. Really good and a good take as well by Osborne. But you look at it here, and we've got 4 men. Italy are there shutting off the offload and the pass out the back door. But if we got it quicker, we would have definitely had an overlap. You think maybe do you hit Joe McCarthy? Should he be up into that space? Is that Jack Conan there? Could you hit him? He's a bit too far back. But anyway, it was a good opportunity for us. And then Craig Casey, really good ball. Like, look at the presentation of that. Like, that's 2 seconds after he hits the ground. I'm just gonna highlight that again. So we'll count exactly what time it is. You know what time it is. So when he hits the ground, 2 seconds. That's really good ruck speed, and that's what we're going to need against England. England aren't a very fit team. They're a big team, yeah. There are a few players with a really good engine on them. But even the likes of Tom Curry, Sam Underhill, Ben Earl, they do tire. Ellis Genge at one point against Scotland was pointing at other people, hands on the hips, almost going, "You carry because I don't want it." And it was only after 50 minutes they will tire. And he's not the biggest loose end prop you'll ever see. Joe Hayes played big minutes. Whose man is Irish. I wonder how he feels. Definitely mixed feelings. But I know watching this game, a lot of people won't be very confident, but I think England are there for the taking. And we have to go and take them. We have to definitely show them what we're made of because they haven't got an awful lot to their game. They look great when they're going forward. And against Wales, let's not forget that Wales had 4 yellow cards. It's going to be very easy to play around that. England's discipline is shocking. It's very poor. No people talk about ours, but in 2 games, they've had 3 yellow cards. Henry Arundel was very lucky, in my opinion, not to get a ban for this game. He was lucky not to get a straight red card for that one. I know he was already sent off, but if you watch my video that I made exactly a year ago, you'll see how poor England's discipline was when they played us in Dublin. And they got away with an awful lot. They're very cynical. They're slowing the ball down. They're diving all over the ruck. They're offside. And the referees have been quite harsh, sending people to the bin. Wales had 1 man yellow carded after another. So, we should be pointing that out. I know Doris is a captain that people don't have an awful lot of faith in. But I think say like Dara should be onto the ref saying that's 3 or 4 penalties in a row, letting the ref know that should be a final warning because England get away with an awful lot. Even with total dominance against Wales, they still had a yellow card, and Ellis Genge was very lucky not to get anything more than a penalty for that blatant headbutt. So they like to get under your skin, they like to be arrogant and in your face, celebrating a knock on and whooping and hollering. But Henry Pollock starting as well, so we can get in his face, really shut him down, and just stop them from getting their heads up. Start fast. That's what Scotland did against England, and it worked perfectly. And this is the way to do it. Like getting a good attacking position, but we mess it up. We're going to have to be more clinical against England. Sorry, getting an ad now. It's freaking me out. See if Prendergast double pumps and gets caught here. So we'll just look at this. Crowley was much faster whipping the ball out. So we're going to just go through it now. I don't want to spend too long on it, but I also probably will end up going down a rabbit hole. So see the carry here. So there's Caelan Doris getting the ball. And at this stage, it's actually a good position, but it's far too slow. Like you look at James Lowe's here, and I think who's that out wide? Is that Ringrose or Dan Sheehan? Might be Dan Sheehan. But we've got an overlap. If Prendergast takes that to the line, gives it to James Lowe, James Lowe can give it to Stuart McCluskey, who's out here. Louis Lina then gets fixed. We've really got 2 options. Prendergast can take it to the line and take on this gap right here, which then frees him up. But he was good at doing that against France. He did it on 2 occasions where he squared up the men, drew them in, then gave the ball. He can do that here, but he just gets caught behind the game line. See that hesitation? He's still in a good position. You wonder could he put the chip kick in? Probably a bit awkward. Louis Lina is very fast, but so is Dan Sheehan. I think that's him out there, but play it on. See how he double pumps, goes around. James Lowe, he just uses him as a shield. Lowe kind of has no other option. Maybe it's a poor read by Lowe as well. Like if we look at it, so Lowe's trying to take a hard line, and I think that's actually a smart decision. Prendergast should be hitting him. He's coming onto that at pace, and he's hitting a gap. He's fixed up one defender, the other's on the back foot. Just hit him. Give that pass to him. You could say skip him out and go to Stuart McCluskey, but Louis Lina is quick. I would just say hit James Lowe with that pass, but he waits too long. And as a result, we get hit behind the gain line and our retreat. England will swallow us up if we do that. So then McCluskey has to get over it now. And now James Ryan has to take a slow carry after we were in a very good position. So that's just the thing about playing heads up rugby, and being faster. Prendergast takes too long. So now we have to take another box kick. And then Ringrose gets absolutely upended by Simone Ferrari. And really tight carries, but look at that hit. Like we get knocked completely backwards just because we're getting poor ball. Ringrose takes too long as well. He just doesn't see him coming, and then bump. Oh, the big one. Now we have to have another box kick, Just box kick after box kick. We've had about three or four of them already from Ireland. But it's a good chase, and he wins the ball, which is important. Really good chase by James Lowe, showing all those Irish how it's done, catching the ball. But that's what we need. We need to win it back. We can't be kicking loosely, and we got to contest for everything. Lowe does very well here. And then look, we've got six Italians all bunched together. Let's go quick. Let's get it out. And then that's really good. They look at that position there. Osborne takes to the line. Now, I just want to kind of highlight that. So, is that the right option? I know it's easy to say in hindsight, but was there better options? We shall see. Because you see how Balogun has to jump and stop. If we look at it here, I think with Prendergast, could he just take that to the line again? If he goes into that gap and backs himself, then he's got a man outside. Gary Ringrose is reshaped, so he's after realigning here and play it on. If that defender, I think it's Lorenzo Pani, if he shoots up out of the line, take it into the gap, take the ball on. Yeah, like there's no one there. Balogun could even run onto that. So could Ringrose. Italy will be backtracking. I just think if he takes that to the line, it's a much better thing. It's a much better decision. It gives him more options. Throws a big loopy pass, and Monty Ioane can put Balogun under pressure. Great footwork though, like he steps back in brilliantly. But that pass was awkward for him, really put him under pressure. He gets over the game line brilliantly though. And you see that trying to get the arm free. That's what we're going to need. Let's get offloads. Big Stew. Every time he gets it, he's looking to offload. So let's get in support with him. If he gets that arm free, the big right arm, we should be there with him. And then feeding it on. Big carry by Clarkson. It's a loose carry by Clarkson, I think. Yeah. Manuel Zuliani rips it off him. Yeah. Look, he just gets a clean rip. I like Thomas Clarkson, as I say, but that was just too easy. Our ball protection needs to be a hell of a lot better than that. And now Italy have the ball. Now look what they look to do. They look to just go wide fast and catch us out. That's Joe McCarthy. Like that's not really the position you want him in. James Lowe on a massive gap there. That's Jack Coleman. So you see how they all get bunched in, and then immediately Italy are on the attack. So we rewind that again. Like Balogun fights really hard from a power pass by Prendergast, and he gets over the halfway line, and then a really poor carry by Thomas Clarkson, and that one does everything. All the good work by Balogun. And look at that carry, really good. Like you took it in, you fend, and you hold onto it as hard as you can. Zuliani doesn't even have to strip it; he can just take the ball off him very easily. There's two players with Clarkson here. It's really not good enough. And now we're on the back foot. And then Italy just look to go wide instantly. And look who's defending. So we've got Izuchuku, who in fairness is quite quick for back rower and second rower. But Jeremy Lockman, Izuchuku, Jack Conan, and Joe McCarthy. I would rather Izuchuku be out wide defending that channel because he's got more pace, and Joe McCarthy being tighter because he's a big, strong carrier, but he's not the type to chase down a winger. Nor should he be. He's a big second rower. You don't want them having to chase down a winger. But I always wonder how we end up in defensive positions like this. Because you'd see how easy it is for Italy to make yards. Balogun was taking us beyond the halfway, and now Italy will completely counter attack us. Royal agrees with me. And then one big long pass out to the speedster, Louis Lina. We get away with that one. I wonder if it had gone into Louis Lina's arm. If it had gone into his arms, hands, why do I say arms? If the ball had gone to Louis Lina, though, was he gone? Poor pass in the end by Italy. I think the option they should have taken. Felt like they should have gone through the hands here. Like square John McCarthy, slow. So run into that channel, then give the pass out the back, and then Louis Lyon could take it. I think it was white line favour by Italy. They were going way too fast. They could have very easily caught us out here, though, and that's Menoncello. So he gets the ball into his hands, then gives it to Louis Lyon, or chip it in there. Italy could have definitely put it in there. And we saw how good Juan Ignacio Brex was, Nacho Brex, as they call him. He put that chip kick in last week against Scotland, so he's got it in his locker. We got away with that one, in my opinion, because if that ball goes through there, Menicello and Louis Lyon are like lightning. They're gone. England have some very good backs. Their outside backs are extremely quick. Ollie Lawrence as well is back in the team, so that's a worrier for us. Tom Roebuck hasn't been at his best. He's a very good player, but he hasn't been at the level I've seen before. And I've watched him play for Sale. I have definitely been impressed. He's physical. He's a good back. Arundel scoring tries for fun, but when they're tested, what will they be like? I wonder. So we actually started out in the scrums quite well. So this is a beast of a man, Somali Ferrari. And I think he's been one of the best tight heads, if not the best tight head in the tournament so far. I'd say the best, to be fair. Joe Hayes hasn't been bad either, but no, Ferrari's been very good. Lockman, I've been impressed with his loose play. A lot of tackles from but the scrum is something where we need to show up. We actually do quite well in this one. So we win. We win this one, yeah. So the Milo Fischetti collapses this side, and that's actually quite a good scrum by Ireland. Yeah. So Clarkson squares up pretty well, gets in a strong position, a tight head. Fischetti angles in and drops his spine. That was really good. Like that was impressive, but it all went downhill from here. As they say, it's all downhill from here. Like, let's look at it here. So Clarkson gets in a really good position. Fischetti, that left elbow, once that hits the ground, easy call for Holly Davidson. I like her. I think she's a good ref, but a few questionable calls, and I don't think it's just because I'm an Ireland fan. But we'll get to that in a bit. You see, once that arm goes down, Fischetti loses his point, and she's got a good eye on it now as well. So fair play. One area where we were very good was the line out, so that's good to see, and it's good to see Cormac as Juku leading the way. James Ryan and John McCarthy are good line out options as well. So a lot of really good options. Jack Conan and Galen Darris. A lot of people who can be lifted and who can lift as well, which is always good to have. I didn't know that. Apparently, Tom Clarkson's mom is Italian because he's just there saying it could easily be Tommaso. So there's a bit of an Italian look off him, all right, isn't there? This is a really good lift, really good line out. And is a Chuku really impressive because I've been the caller for lineouts before, and it's a lot of pressure. You have to get it right, you have to get the throw and the jump perfectly timed. So kudos, Cormac. And then the speed, like just get it up and straight down to Casey, who takes it brilliantly. And the ball into Doris, so that's perfect. Like let's look at that. So when we actually set up the line, it's the speed that we set it up at. One, two, uni flew. The ball is gone. That's perfect. Really good jump by Cormac as a Chuku. Great throw by Shane. Straight down to Casey. Bang, let's get it into Caelan Doris. And let's get the carries. Let's get around the corner. That's perfect. This is what we can use against England. Ollie Chesham now and the Told are good line-out options, so no doubt they'll put them up. But if we get speed, if we keep going with speed and we have as many good line-out options as we did in that game, we could definitely hurt England. I think let's go fast. Maybe not look to take them on the ball, but tire them out, make the big forwards move. This was a perfect move. So we just go back again one more time, I promise. Shane gets it here. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 seconds. And then Doris has a good carry just straight into the channel. And I like Doris a lot more when he just carries straight. None of this jinking that he does. Back yourself, go. You're a number 8. Well, I know he's number 7 here, but he's a number 8 by trade. Just back yourself and down the channel. Get into the Italians. It's a good carry by Doris and a bit of a hold by McGlusky. Another day you might get pinged for that, but I think it's smart play. Him and James Lowe just kind of taking out Garbisi and creating that gap. And then look at that speed again. We're just hitting it around the corner. Is a who's taking it on, and that speed comes from really good clearing out, really good pace in attack. And look, we've got the Italians absolutely scattered. Now they held them up for a little bit in fairness, but we do well here. Well, James Ryan just taking it in. Good carry, really good carry. Like, look at how many yards he's made there. And then Doris makes another good carry, really good energy, and that's what you want from your captain, leading by example. And now here is what I really like. So look, we've got 3 really good options. 4 technically, maybe even 5, but there's a Chuku at the back. Look how many options we have here in attack. We've so many big men running onto it. The Italians are backtracking. They're at 6s and 7s. Pardon me. I have to keep doing it. I'm sorry. The amount of kids that were doing it that I worked with, and I was just like, if you can't beat them, join them. So takes it to James Ryan, and then he goes out the back. So we just look at that. Like, look how many options we have here. So even just looking at this, when Casey throws it, we have Lockman, we've got James Ryan, we've got John McCarthy, we've got Jack Cohn. That's 4 options. Cormac is a Chuku, so that's 5. And Prendergast, 6 options. 6 options in attack. Exactly what we want. And then we work this one really well. So look at the shape. That's exactly what I want to see against England. We're going to need it as good as it can be. So we get this from really good carries. This is a really good carry by James Ryan, and then Doris, in fairness, still works really well to get around the corner after a big carry. Look at that. Really good. And now Italy are backtracking. And then we go one way, where we've got about 3 options here. Another really good clear out. In fairness, Clarkson's really getting around and making his clear outs. But look at all those options. Like, we've got about 7 options off one play, and then those players are still alive. So even when these guys are used as a screen, there's 3 options in the back and Prendergast to make 4. So that's really good. And then a good pass by Ryan. Prendergast takes it in. Look how many players we've sucked in here, which is perfect, really good. And then here we go. We go wide. This one doesn't pay off, but low does well. Just to let it bounce, then take it into contact. If we look at that again, we'll just play it from here. So if we use this, we could have used Balakoon out the back door. McCluskey, if he dropped just a bit deeper, maybe he could have been a better option. Look at that shape there by Balakoon. Is that Gary Ringrose again? See the one taking it? We just want to have a look and see if it is him. I think it is. Yeah, it's Ringrose getting it. So Balakoon is sweeping around, running a perfect angle. If Shane just runs through here, Balakoon takes it into that space. McCluskey gets a bit wider. We would have had much better shape. Ringrose rushes it, just flings that pass. Remember what I was talking about with Italy? You got to earn the right to go wide, and you got to be patient as well. Louis Lyon is quick, so he gets to James Lowe. Whereas if we fix up their defence, Balakoon comes around that corner, McCluskey gets out wider. We know what his offloading game is like. He's good enough to get it to anyone, especially with that NFL draw. It's just we got to be more patient. You'd expect better. Maybe Balakoon needs to shout louder because obviously Ringrose didn't hear him. But if he gets around quicker, McCluskey can go further wide. Or Ringrose could just hit McCluskey and McCluskey can take that on. He's a big man. He'd definitely take two defenders with them anyway and then get the offload out to James Lowe. Wrong option anyway. He takes it in too far. He could still give it out the back door. If you look at it from here, Balakoon is still definitely an option. McCluskey isn't really, but it's just too long a pass. Like, look where he's flinging it from. Inside the goalposts, almost out to the left-hand touchline. That bounce slows everything down. Really good ball presentation, though, again, for Casey. And then a good screen. And then look at the options. So with these two runners, you could potentially get the ball. Prendergast gets it here. And look how many options he has. He's got 6 options, which is really good. 6 players all waiting to get the ball. And he gets it. Just takes it in with Jeremy Lockman here, which is probably the right option. Just carry. Now, don't know if that's because there's an injured player down, but there was definitely an option there to go out wide. It's when we get it here. Like, look, there's only Montiolani. Doris is out wide here. We've got 5 players, and Italy are struggling to get across. If we just go quick, we can get there. Quicker ball is needed, better shape probably as well. We're letting them get back and shuffle across. So there's 5 players there, 6 now. I think Casey picks the wrong option. So if you get it out here, Doris is all alone. And I think he definitely palms off Montiolani and puts the ball down. Yeah, literally as I say it, the commentators agree with me. There's Royal Nugent and he's an English commentator. I don't know who he is, but I agree with everything he says. He's always straight after me. I swear I didn't watch his commentary beforehand, so we're just in sync. And then we just wasted a good opportunity. In fairness to Prendergast, there was a penalty option. So fair enough. We go to touch. all right, Australians are going to be looking at this going, where was our fucking Bentley can? Because when the British and Irish Lions played against Australia, Dan Sheehan got away with this. I don't know how he got away with it. I was looking at it thinking, I'm an Ireland fan, but that was a penalty to Australia. And here he tries it again. He just leapfrogs over the defence and gets driven back. It's such an obvious penalty, you know. And it's just another example of how we waste great field position, you know. Like we've worked really hard, gone through a lot of really good phases. Instead of going wide, getting a try, we end up conceding a penalty through an absolute brain fare. I was talking about Jack Crowley, but this was an opportunity to get on that scoreboard early. On that scoreboard early. Scoreboard. The Wexford accent is starting to have an impact on me. And look, just 7 minutes into the game, not even. If we had gotten a try here, which we definitely could have done, it's a great start. You know, we could have won the game by more because Italy are tired, they're backtracking, they're exhausted. But then an absolute brain fart by Dan Sheehan here. And like he's a great player. He should know a lot better than this. This is stupidity. The only reason and the only rationale I can make for him getting away with, or trying this is the fact that he got away with it against Australia. And the fact that he got away with it in that game proves that there's definitely unfair refing because it was obvious to me and everybody watching that it was a dive. You know, he threw himself over the defenders. That's what he tried to do here, but Italy weren't buying it. They barreled him backwards. At least he tapped it with his foot, though. Like, look, he's already airborne. He's just propelling himself over. Oh, and then he gets knocked backwards. Like, that's just, it's so stupid. Oh, such a great player, but that was an absolute brain fart. Don't know why he did that. Oh, don't know. Like, look at it. Look. And they actually put him down quite gently. Like, that could have been very dangerous for him because he jumped into the tackle. You know, it could have gone really badly for him and he could have injured himself. He ends up flipping backwards and thankfully not landing on his head, but that could have been him out of the competition. And then the referee rightly gives a penalty. And then they get up, you know, and Ireland's faces are kind of rubbed this one in. They were trying to wind us up in the game, you know. There's a lot of teams that like to piss Ireland off and rub it in our faces when we don't do as well as we could or should. And then Joe McCarthy as well, getting into a scrap off the ball. It's all kicking off. Take a look at that, the leap. So he's just explained it there. Is it Alistair Aiken? Is that his name? Don't know. David Flatman's another really good English commentator. But yeah, look at him. Like he leaps into that. There is no justification for it. I'm an Irish fan, and I think that was absolutely stupid by Dan Sheehan and correctly said you're not allowed to jump into a tackle. So no, that was a fair call. And a very stupid moment by Dan Sheehan that cost us really good field position. Look, he's actually very lucky they managed to put him down. And now they clear their lines. Good kick as well. They're talking about that now. They're kind of alluding to the illegal try that he got against Australia. You can dive in the act of scoring a try. So obviously, if you're near the touchline, you're diving. Like you see all the Australian wingers doing. Pacific Island wingers, they're just something else. They always know how to keep their feet in and leap into the corner. If anyone's ever seen Suliasi Vunivalu for the Melbourne Storm, some of the finishes he has are unbelievable. The Fijian lad, but you cannot dive into a tackle, and that's the difference. And the ruling against Australia was that Shane was diving to score a try. What they were arguing was that he was diving over the tacklers, which he was. It shouldn't have been a try in my opinion, but hey ho, a big tackle by this man. So then from their try line, yeah, that's a fair point. The Italian set piece is very good. We've just gone from their try line. We looked like we were certain to get a try. And now look, we're up there the halfway line, and Italy are on the attack. I think they should have got someone up here just to challenge, but just put as a Duke over two. And now we're defending. Good tackle though. Really good tackle by Stu McCluskey. Big Stu. He gets around. I'm a big fan of his. I just wish he had gotten into the team sooner, to be honest with you. And now they kick. But another great take. Like, look at Osborne there. Solid as a rock. Really good, which is what we need. England are going to challenge. Italy got away with a lot of crooked throws as well, where they're catching it on the outside shoulder, and I'm there thinking, we threw someone up. Like, we didn't do it there, but we'll play it on and we'll see. Just need consistency. That's all we're asking for. So good tackle here by McCluskey on the danger man. Menangelo gets low, chops him down. Not easy for a big man. That's a good chase. Monty Ioani's a quick fella, so really good under the high ball. He keeps his eyes on it and he makes a great take. Very good. Very impressive. But look where we are. Like, we're near around 22 now, and we nearly got a try. We were very close. It's just not clinical enough, and we're going to need to be clinical. I'll say it again. We have to be clinical against England. You know, Unfortunately, we've given ourselves a monumental task now of having to go and get a bonus point win against England because we didn't get a bonus point against these guys, and we could have done it. A hard fought bonus point win at the end. Good setup though. We've again got our options. So it's your basic diamond shape. You've got your point, and then he has an inside and an outside pass. We called it plus or minus. Plus, you tip it on to the next guy. Minus, you throw it back inside. So if Lockman gets it here, Shane is the minus option. John McCarthy is the plus. And then we called it dagger. So where you're throwing it out the back, you're actually dummying and you're going out the back to Sam Prendergast. These two guys are decoys. That's exactly what Lockman does. Out the back door, the dagger to Sam Prendergast. It just gives your fly half a bit more space, because these two guys are on the screen. And this is fine. Really good pass, really good depth. Actually, I'm trying to cut Prendergast as much slack as I can, and that is a good pass. It's giving McCluskey a chance to run at these guys as well. Again, just wonder, could you give it to Lowe? Throwing the big long pass. James Lowe gets it here and takes it on instead. He can fix the man. I just feel like we throw that big long pass far too often. Big Stu is a good man, he's a big fella. But I just feel like we could hold on to it a bit longer, be more patient in attack. Because if you look at how many players we have out here, Italy have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 players. If we're just patient here, we'd have an overlap. It's just not. It's not smart rugby. You know, I think we're good enough. We just need to be patient with the ball, man. So Prendergast makes a really good pass to McCluskey here, Barnstone. And they're shooting up. They're trying to put the pressure on and get the intercept. Look at that gap. McCluskey could even run into that gap himself. You know, even if he doesn't go through the gap, hold on to the ball, get your arm free, big right arm, and offload to James Lowe. He's really good at it, so I don't know why he throws that really long pass. Again, look where it is. He's the right hand side of the goalpost and he's thrown it out to the left wing. Like he's winding up, he has it in his mind that he's doing it beforehand. Why not take that ball on, commit Menoncello, pass it to James Lowe. Lowe has a good right arm fend. He can fend off Menoncello, maybe even get past him. And then he's got an extra man outside. You know, it's just not playing smart. Is that Jack Conan as well? It does have legs, you know, he's quick enough. Yeah, it is. And we've even got an extra man out wide, you know. So that's 10 players, you know, versus six, 4 man overlap when you think about it. But even at this position, Jack Conan's in a really good position here. So he can take it on, draw in Louis Lina. Menoncello's covering across, you know, so Coleman should be targeting this space right here because there's such a big gap. Take it on. You've got the pace. Back yourself. If Louis Lina buys the dummy, which I think is to Cormac Izuchukwu, who has got pace, you know, he's a quick man. If he buys that dummy out to Izuchukwu, you go into that gap yourself. If Menoncello snags you, you go back to James Lowe, who's in support. He takes too long, you know, he's trotting along. So Menoncello is covering across hard, in fairness to him, but let's look at it again. Well, really good catch by Osborne. I'm a big fan of Jamie Osborne. You know, we have to remember he's not actually played fullback a whole lot. He's more of a centre or a winger. Leinster have thrown him in there now. You know, at fullback. I think he only played 2 games of fullback, and then Ireland started him a fullback against South Africa, and he rose to the challenge. He made a few mistakes, but he was solid under the high ball, and he got a try. I think we can cut him some slack in Pretoria, which is a hostile ground to go to. But why play all these players out of position? You know, I just don't get it. Really can't understand it. You can put Stockdale a fullback where he's played most of the season as well. You know, I just don't get why you're playing players out of position. But a great take by him here. So I'll say it again with the knowledge now that Izuchukwu was out wide. He's out here. James Lowe's here. So that's 1, 2, Uniflu. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's another man, Jack Coleman. Sorry, Jack Coleman's out here as well. Sorry, Jack. So that's 10 men against 6. That's such a good overlap, you know. And if we're more patient and we just put it through the hands, we will get a try. Maybe not a try, but we'll get a line break at least. Yeah, like this was a good pass. We fixed the man. It's because it's such a long loopy pass, and again it bounces into Coleman's hands. He has to step back. He's not bursting onto it at pace. And now he slows down. He's kind of caught in 2 minds. Menoncello gets across and covers well. But we slowed it down for Italy. We gave them that opportunity to get across, you know. And now the tackle is made. He just has to take it into contact because we've slowed it down. And now, you know, we run the risk of being turned over. And this is Duke who could have been in the side here. Good rucking by James Lowe, though. Great body position. And Izuchukwu does really well to get back in there. Cormac, Izzy Chuke. Call him Izzy, I think, don't they? Yeah, makes sense. But he does well. From where he was to get back and support James Lowe, that's a very good rucking position. In case he fishes it out well, another good carry in here. Keeps calling him Tommaso Clarkson now. That's going to stick in my head. Look how Casey scans, though. He's always ready. You know, I like Casey. A really big fan of his. Prendergast takes it to the line pretty well here. And this is a good position again. So if we look at it, three players, three defenders against 1, 2, 3, 4 attackers, and we've got a man out here who is in an offside position. But if we get a simple adjustment, we can put him on. McCluskey actually gives the right option here. Really good ball out to Osborne. Kind of gets caught a bit behind the game line, but does well to get out the tackle and then put Balakoon away. Good raid though. Ioane shuts that space down. So if we look at that again, Italy shut it down by just being up in our face. So ideally, Osborne will get around them faster, give that pass. But because they're coming up in our faces, they shut us down, and Ioane reads this really well. We look where he comes from. He just shoots in and cuts off that space for Robert Balakoon, yeah. Yeah, he comes in like a bat out of hell. But still, good position. We have Italy backpedaling, and we've got an overlap. And Stuart McCluskey does well. Goes quick. Let's get it out. Let's do it. Now, it's not actually the worst kick. We've got players running onto it. We just need the kick chase to be better. We get disjointed here. Osborne and Doris aren't up together. But they do recycle it well, to be fair. Good position to be in. And then they go to kick again for Louis Lina. That was very well done. That's the danger England pose. Now, Louis Lina has Irish blood in him. His dad, Michael, the Queensland Reds and Australian legend. Looks a lot like him, plays a lot like him. That was really clever by him. But look how easily we're undone by one really good kick. So we look at it here. We're actually in a very good position. So we look at defenders. So they've got attackers. Garbisi, 1, then 2, 3, 4. Pani and Menoncello, along with there's Lorenzo Pani, who went into fullback actually for Italy. Pani usually is fullback, but he went into centre for this game. But anyway, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 with the extra man. But Louis Lina does really well here, and England will look to kick. That'll be George Ford, and that'll be Tom Roebuck out wide, and they're going to look to kick a lot. Freddie Stewart, even big man, 6'5", big fullback, a hefty fella. You can bet your arse they're going to be challenging us in the air. When you see he gets up here, he palms it forward, catches it again, does really well. And Lowe's back here defending the fullback position. In fairness, he has to be there because if he's not there, we've no cover. But then Italy offload and they just get going. That offload was really nice. So look how quick there. They just want to keep it alive after this. And now we're backpedaling from one really good crossfield kick. George Ford definitely has the ability to do this. And they have the ability to win it back, which is why we're going to have to be really on our kicking game. Now we're backpedaling. He gets the offload. We're scattered down defence. They get the offload and Menoncello chips it down. Now it goes dead here, but we do all right. Yeah, he hacks it on, and we're fine. Good chase again, Balakoon. And he did that very well. He was always straight up in the faces of the Italian players. Zuliani was a beast as well. He's really what you want in a seven. Big and strong, rips the ball, but can go for the jackal. He got three turnovers and 10 tackles of enough fingers to do it. But yeah, the white scrum cap, you can't miss him. Did everybody like Alf in his scrum cap? So cute. He was sleeping in it as well. He loved it. But look at that. Really good rip. And then great awareness by Jack Coleman. So if we look at that, it was a strong carry, but a good rip. Loose carry, you could say, but we also do well to rip it back. Just going to pause it for a second, guys, and then I'll be right back to you. So then, like, if we just play it on here, Zuliani loses the ball, spills out. Poor carry from him. A good play by Jack Coleman just to get on the ball here. We get good speed. And let's look at that again, like how quick that Rook is, because that's what we're going to need. So I'm just going back a little. Now we get Italy on the back foot, and Louis Lina gives away a deliberate knock on and rightly gets a yellow card. Good low hit, wrap them up. And now, literally in 2 seconds, we get over, we get the ball out. 1, 2, really good ball presentation. That's exactly what we're looking for. Get England on the back foot instantly. And now we stretch them, and Louis Lina will come in with a deliberate knock on now. He goes for the big long one. Now, this could have gone really badly, and Lina could have gotten on the end of it, but it worked out well for us. Those big loopy passes, not the biggest fan. We did it far too often, but in this case, it worked out well. Yeah, and we can move that on. But we got good shape because we turned the ball off and we transitioned well, and then we went into the corner. So he did a smart thing. Another good line out. Another really good line out. So even though they get up, once again, is a Chuku wins it. Yep. Sack is good, but we move it well. So look at the shape. So Italy are actually lined up pretty well here, but we get some really good shape in our attack, and we move it very well. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Can't do it every time, but they are quite bunched, so they're all together in a line. So let's see what we can do from here. We've a good shape here. The ball's a bit slower. Stuart McCluskey takes it in, ships it on, and then Rook's over. So that tip on pass is a really good idea. New Zealand did it before. I remember with Brody Retallick and Owen Franks. So Owen Franks was the tight head prop. He'd get it, literally tip it on, just like McCluskey did there. Basically, what he was doing, and I thought, oh, that's clever. He was putting himself in front of the ball carrier, so he's obviously going to throw it backwards. That gives him less ground that he has to cover to get in and hit the ruck, which is actually genius when you think about it. So he's already in front of the ball carrier, and the big long body of Retallick being a second rower who's 6'8" means that Franks can get right over him instantly, but he also makes more yards. So it's a good idea. Just tips it on, and then he gets over. He's giving himself less ground that he has to cover, and he's over it. Well, this is a really good position. So we look at Italy now. 1, 2, 3, committed to the ruck. Then 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then Ireland have a great option here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They're short down that side. So we've got more men down here, and they're a man in the bin. So we've got the overlap. And look what we have. So Prendergast coming across, then Caelan Doris. Then we've also got Joe McCarthy. Now, Jeremy Lockman, not ideal in these positions. James Ryan, James Lowe, and Cormac Isachuku. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Ringrose is sweeping across. So it's a really good attacking position against 5 players. Now, how do we exploit this? 3 men out here, unmarked, and Ringrose sweeping around. You would think it'd be try time all day, Ball goes out the back, or goes even to Lockman, and Lockman hits one of these players. And it's a poor pass, and as a result, the whole thing gets ruined. So look at that position. Like, just look where we are. We work it really well as well. I would give credit, you know. So a good ruck. Casey notices it really well. Look at this position. Italy are down, you know, one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight players in there, and then five out here. So they've only got one player back defending here. We have such a good overlap chance. We've got Casey here passing it. One, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight. Eight players up against possibly six, five, maybe six. That's two man overlap. You know, great opportunity to attack here. And we completely butcher it because McCarthy takes the wrong option. And he's not the man you want out here. You know, like, look who's out here attacking. You've got Doris, your open side flanker, is normally number 8. John McCarthy, the second row. Then you've got your lucid prop, Jeremy Lockman, James Ryan, you know, and Cormac Achukwu. It's not ideal, but still poor execution. Like, look at that overlap. He flings it out the back there, and it's a really poor option. Like, that just needs to go up the hand. And look what would happen if it did go up the hand. We are in. We put ourselves under unnecessary pressure. Great attacking position. We sweep back so well. That ball needs to go to Prendergast, and Fairns, I think if it did, he would have gotten it around. But these players as well are in poor position. Like, Izuchukwu is standing ahead of James Ryan and James Lowe and Gary Ringrose. He's in no position to receive that ball. He can receive it off Prendergast if he gets it, but nobody else. He needs to hold that room back a little bit, you know. Look at that overlap. Look at all that space. Really poor execution, especially when they are down to 14. You know, we could punish them instantly. And look, now they dive on it and get the turnover ball and counter attack transition. And now they look to move it and put us under pressure. Good tackle. Really good tackle. He's set up for a scrum now. Great cover tackle. He likes them not rushing and having a word with the Dutch judge. And check the scrum here. Balakoon hit that. He hit the tackle really well. Yeah, the ball's not great here. You know, it's popping up. But great defending. Balakoon just, you know, he really added a lot in attack and defence. But we look at the scrum here. And as I said, it's all downhill from here. Casey did really well to get it out that fast because you can see we were getting dominated. Goes in, they get the shove on, gets it out fast, beat, in and out, shake it all about, perfect. And that carry, he commits the man. That's what I like about Casey. He's like Dupont in that way. Commit the man, draw, then give the pass. Which he does. Not great. The ball bounces again and slows it down, but look at the space. Balakoon attacks this space really well. You know, and this was actually good execution. Could have been better, but it was pretty good, and we got something out of it. We've got 4 men here. Italy are all over the place. You know, they've got a man shooting up out of the line. Look at all that space. Put Balakoon into it, and they finally do. Prendergast gets it back in the loop, and now we can finally put the speedster into the gap. Look, draw the man, like I was saying earlier. Prendergast does it very well, gives it to Balakoon, and he does the rest. And he just hits that space. Just by hitting that space, he puts Italy under a huge amount of pressure. Look how many yards he makes as well. Lowe does really well to shimmy and stay in field here. And look, we're in there 22, like that. So we just go over that again. This is what I want to see more of. That was really good. From a scrum that was going back, Craig Casey was brilliantly to get the ball in. The pass isn't great, but we recover it well. Ringrose does well, gives the loop around, and then Prendergast takes it to the line. Like I said, just take it straight. He sucks in the defenders, then gives it to Balogun, who hits this pace, or hits the space really well. Gives that the part. Well, maybe you could say if he holds it just a little bit longer, will Balogun be through that gap? Perhaps. If he draws the man a bit better because they know he's going to give the pass. But I think you've got to put Balogun into space. And then from inside our own half, look where we are. Balogun gets a great line, then gives it out to Lowe with a good offload, and we worked this really well. Perfectly worked. And then we're in there 22. And then a good offload by Lowe. Ringrose is alive. But we get undone here. We're light and we get blasted out of it. We need to go in, hit that fast, and get the ball out like that. But we don't. We wait around. Prendergast is not the man you want in here. I think what Osborne needs to do, or Prendergast, either one of them need to pick it up, get the ball out fast. You don't want these guys hanging around, and Italy identify this and pour through. So he's fine. Zuliani hits him, but he's done all right, Osborne needs to pick this up and get it out ASAP. He takes too long, and then we get turned over. Yeah, you see? And then we're left trying to recover a lost ruck, and that's not ideal. Zuliani hits it, Prendergast is knocked off it, and the ball is lost. And they've turned it over after a really good attack. Now they slow it down and they just wind down the time on that clock. So that's three really good attacking opportunities, and we've turned it over, giving them easy out. Now they're just going to clear their lines. Box kick, and they're out. A bit of a neck roll there, and there's a Juku by Ferrari, if I'm being honest. If you look at it there, it looked a bit like a neck roll, I have to say. So we get a line out here after they clear their lines. Another good line out. I'd say good because we won the ball, not because it was actually well worked. Like, I know that wasn't the move, but in fairness, Prendergast resources it well, and it's another line out one, which is what I care about. Call obviously wasn't right, but we got it back, so that's a good line out in my opinion. And then Prendergast gets it here, ships it on, and Big Stew does the rest. Another good option. Ryan crashes it up, gets hit back, but Casey again, 2 seconds every time, and he resources the ruck brilliantly. That's a good pass, but Italy are now up in our faces, so we look at that. They're just coming up, putting in the hit, and they're making dominant collisions now, which we don't want. So we see a Casey with a good pass, Clarkson with a good loop, but they're just looking to pile the pressure on us. And we actually do very well. Really good hands by McCluskey again, floating it into space for Osborne. So let's look at that. Just that pass. We work it so well in the end. They're up in his face, but McCluskey again. Look where it starts, and the wraparound is brilliant. Two options here, drawn in defenders. Actually, I don't think they're paying attention. We could hit that gap again, but McCluskey gets it brilliantly and floats it perfectly around the corner, and Osborne will take it through that gap. And now Lowe's in space, just hitting that, banging down the line. And then I wish he just back himself instead of hopping and skipping, just back yourself, put the head down, hand off, ball in the left arm, and you're away in the hack. See how he stops and he kind of stutters. I don't like that. I prefer him just to back himself and go for it. So look, really well worked. And Osborne draws the man in and gives the pass. James Lowe, just back yourself, go for that gap. Look at it, take him on. They do cover across very well now, in fairness. Good carry, and he fights. You see that there for the extra yard. So he's not content just to go down and concede. He also fights for that extra yard, which I really like. Which I'll just show now. So Osborne draws the man this time instead of going for the gap. He bites in and then he gives the pass out. But watch where Lowe gets hit just outside the 22, but he fights, places the ball that extra yard forward. See here, he really fights just to get every yard, which I really like. Pumps the legs and gets over into the 22. Really good work. They don't roll out, and now that's really well worked. All the defenders have bitten in on James Ryan, so he sucks in the defenders. Jeremy Lockman runs a really good line. Sam Prendergast is hiding there, and we run a really good screen, and now we open up the pitch for the rest of our options. Really well worked. And now, look how many players he can hit running onto the ball. We've got 5 players out here. You know, Italy have matched us up, but we're in their 22. Everything is going in our favour right now. Another good carry by James Ryan. Now, Casey does really well to get the hands on the ball. And Big Stu taking it on again. Like, that was really good. Go to dummy, then the gap is there. Just put the head down and go. That's playing what you see. You know, heads up rugby, and the Ulster lads showed they're very capable of doing that. Look at this. Really well worked. If the option's not on, charge it up. He starts just outside 22, crashes the ball, does really well. Takes 2 men with him. You get a quick ball again. Now look at that. Like, look how many players are queuing up. So when Prendergast gets the ball, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Again, a 2-man overlap. So you think if we just give hands, give it out wide, we should score. You know, like simple hands should do it. Give it to one of these 2 lads. They suck in the defenders. They go into this gap. You've got 3 men out. Take your pick of who you want to give it to. You know, these 3 lads out here are just queuing up to score. Again, Osborne isn't an option because he's too narrow, he's too flat, and that's kind of like a center's instinct, I think. You know, usually with a fullback, they tend to hang back a bit more, whereas Osborne tends to jump the goal and run that support line for the offload. I feel like he should hold back there. You know, he's too far forward and too flat running onto that ball. So we just go through it again. We worked this so well, and Italy are backtracking, you know, like they're backpedaling the whole time. So we've got them on the back foot. This is an ideal scenario. Even if you look at this, Casey's now getting ready to throw the ball. They've only got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 coming across. We include Lockman here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You know, we've got such a good overlap here. We need to go Veet. Prendergast, get it into hands, give it to Ringrose, then tip it on to Osborne. Osborne is too flat here and he can't be an option. That's the problem, you know. And then I think that Tisachuku again, maybe Jack Conan and Robert Balakoon. But we're too slow. We take everything out of this. Even wonder if Prendergast can just sling that ball. You know, I was talking about them throwing the big long pass. That's not actually too long a pass to get to Osborne. And in this case, he can fix the defender. That man in front of him, which is Monte Ioane. Fix him. Izuchuku gets it into his hands. He's got big long arms. He can give it to Jack Conan or Balakoon here. With a two-man overlap and we don't use it again. Just poor handling. See how they shoot up out of the line. Ringrose gets stuck. Even here, Osborne run through that gap. Ringrose can step here. Like, look at that. There's still three men. We've still got a two-man overlap. We've at least got a one-man overlap and possibly two. But we completely butcher it again. And he goes back. Yeah, he looks for it. He goes, and then he realizes it's too late and just takes the contact. That's a good switch. So nice ball to Prendergast. He says, no, we'll go back infield, suck in the defenders. And I like that because they're always keeping the Italian defence second guessing themselves. So see that again. That's such a good attacking position. I feel like a player of Ringrose's calibre should have made much more of that. And in fairness to Prendergast, the pass isn't bad. We also feel like Osborne should hold back, be deeper, because Ringrose can't give him the pass. If we're all in that narrow position, we can't actually be an option. If we've all got a nice deep line, then everyone can get the ball, even Izuchuku and Conan. Conan's ahead of Izuchuku, so we can't actually get the pass off. If we're just a bit deeper, then we can tip the ball on, and hands will do it every day of the week. Even look at Osborne here against Giovanni. One is a Chuku up against Zapani or Garbisi. Two. So that's two defenders marking up two attackers. And we've got two men out wide who are completely unmarked. Any good team, any good attacking team should score from that. We butcher it. But here, I like what Prendergast does. So now Italy are expecting us just to go wide outright. But Prendergast says, I'm going to keep you guessing. Throws it back infield to James Ryan. That sucks defenders in, keeps them sucked in. And then they have to keep second guessing themselves. They don't know where the ball is going, and it keeps them honest, as they say. Really like that. Good move. Ryan sucks in a few more defenders. Good ruck. That's a good pass out to Jack Coleman, but it's very narrow now. That pass needed to go earlier because now Italy have us all lined up. Italy, my tongue's getting stuck. See, Giovanni makes a low chop tackle. And now you can't give the offload. It's not as easy. But we recycle this one well. Really good speed. Casey's always hopping over, ready to throw the ball. He's so fast. And here we get a lovely tip-on pass by Caelan Doris. It's really quick hands, really good use of the ball. I like this one. Really nice tip on. And he's putting Clarkson into that gap. I liked it. And this will be our first try, which is well worked. But you see my point. We could have scored that in 4 moves earlier. We'd 4 opportunities to score a try and we butchered it through stupid play. Now it's a good ruck. Look at our position in here. Italy are out on their feet. They've been defending like their lives depend on it, and now we've got a really good shape here. Any one of these men can get the ball, and that's what I talk about being options. Lots of really good options here. Casey, lightning quick ball, really good, rapid. We've also got these lads keeping these defenders honest here. They have to be sucked in because of Balakoon, Isachukwu, and Coleman, who are also options at this stage. And Casey's scanning across really well. Prendergast leads the line well, and we get a try from this. Watch how McCluskey comes in to support Prendergast, and then Osborne wraps in behind him, and then a really good offload. Stuart McCluskey spins, right arm out the back door, and we score a try. So we'll roll it on here. This is really well worked here. He gives it out the back door to Ringrose. Then a really good ball here from Ringrose to Stuart McCluskey, who was hitting the hard line again. And he rides the tackle so well. Look at this. So Zuliani bites in. They shoot up. in a hard line. And McCluskey does brilliantly here just to ride the tackle and pop the ball up. And Osborne holds his depth well, so we just go back over that again. Bear with me, fellas. So actually, it looks like it's a good line from Italy if you look at it. Good tip on pass as well. I really like that from Norris. McCarthy gets over this well. And when you look at it, it actually looks fine. So we've got 7 men here, probably James Lowell wide. They've got 6 or 7 men there. I'm not going to do it again. I've overdone it, but they've got enough men lined up. They're probably not too worried. Zuliani and Ferrari, 2 of the big men there, Probably not too worried about Zuliani, but Ferrari's a big tight head prop. You don't want him defending that channel, especially not with his loose head Fischetti. But it looks okay, but we work it so well, and that's what annoys me because it just shows how easily we can break Italy open. Give the pass here. We actually suck the ball in. Here, they've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So the same amount of men on this side, but we work it so well. A really lovely pass. Italy are shooting up out of the line. Zuliani makes a good tackle, but Stuart McCluskey rides the tackle well. And Pani overreads it. They're always shooting up out of the line. If you look at England, Tommy Freeman and Tom Roebuck did it quite often. A lot of their players shoot out of the line to try and get an intercept. So I think that's how we could catch them out. They want to come up and make the big hit or win the intercept, which means they're out of position. So if we can use Stuart McCluskey like this, we might win the game that way. So Zuliani does make his tackle, but because Pani shoots out of the line, that means that Osborne can come in behind and there's loads of space. Look at that. Really good spin by McCluskey. It was going to be a dominant hit, but Zuliani loses the collision. He makes the tackle, but it's not as dominant a hit. Pandy's shot out of the line, and now Osborne get the offload. Really good hands by McCluskey. We score. And then a really well finished try by Osborne. Brilliantly worked. So if we look at it here, they've got everyone lined up, but a really good pass. Prendergast fixes the man well. Manuel Zuliani. But look how we create that overlap because Ringrose gives a really good pass. McCluskey hits that line brilliantly. Like we shouldn't realistically score off this, but we do. But look at the clock. It's only 3 minutes and 50 seconds until Louis Lyon is back on the pitch, And then he shoots out of the line, Pani, but really good support line by Osborne. He keeps running that support line. McCluskey spins and always gets the hands free. And he doesn't die in the tackle. That's the thing. He stays on his feet and then we get a try. And a good line. Yeah, gets it. Now, we just need to highlight this for a second because this has to be highlighted. You can't ignore how poor a kick this is. Now we look at the position. Bear in mind, this is the man who was backed for Ireland and Leinster. A top fly half. That man there in shot, Jack Crowley, won't be too happy about it. See him there. Really good play by McCluskey. That just stays alive. Staying alive. Gets the arm free, gets the offload, look to offload, and everybody be prepared because McCluskey does like to offload. Does very well. Yeah, Jack Crowley. And like, there's no justification for missing this kick. This is as easy as it gets. And if you want to tell me, oh yeah, if it was over that bit further, it'd be easier. Look at that. That is such a simple kick. You know, you get that in your sleep. I got a kick from out further, out further to the left here. This is a simple kick. Take your time. You've got 21 seconds. You couldn't ask for an easier opening kick, And apart from not getting our bonus point and missing a lot of opportunities to score tries, this man cost us 4 points. 4 points in a game that we only won by 7 points. So we could have been 11 clear at the end, and him not getting his kicks was very costly. Or could have been in the end, but thankfully it wasn't. Like, that is not a difficult kick. Look how easy it is. Yes, it's a little bit out to the left, but you should get them in your sleep. It's a very easy kick. He blasts it wide by a good distance as well. Like, he puts it well wide of the post as well. It's not a close one. He should be nailing that. That's not good enough. See it, the ball's over there to the far left of the post. Don't know how we missed it by that much. As Roy Nugent said, in games of fine margins, those are the moments you look back on. So in a game that's very closely contested, you've got to nail every single point you have. That's inexcusable. That's a very easy kick. That's not the first time he's missed a kick like that. So when people like Brendan Fanning say, Crowley's kicking is the reason he's not in the team, how can you justify missing a kick that easy? That's such an easy kick. But they'll use any excuse to cover from Prendergast at this rate. He's not cutting it. He's not good enough at this level yet. He needs to prove himself for his province. But for any team like AIL standard, you should be getting that. That's such an easy kick. So to not be getting that at the international standard, especially like when you're a year out from a World Cup in the Six Nations, you should be nailing kicks like that. That's what you're paid to do. You can forgive a kick that's maybe out the touchline this further away from the post, but not when it's slightly to the left in front of the post. So a big hit by Italy here. And they pile through looking for the ball. Only blame yourself. Italy were well up for that game. Italy, I keep saying Italy, fucking hell. Their lineup was pretty solid as well. He gets up really well. I thought this was a very soft penalty on Litsuchuku. I don't see how he plays the man there. He goes up for the ball, comes down and puts his hands on him gently. I definitely don't think he played the man there. And Italy had one in the second half where it's a blatant push, but we got nothing for it. Like, if we even look at that, they get a penalty for this, and I think it was ridiculous. Yeah, he brushes off, and that's not enough. If you see here, his lifting pod actually let go of him. That's why he falls over, not because of Izuchuku. Yeah, like look at Izuchuku's arm here. He's not pushing him at all. the lifter actually lets go of him. Like, look, he's not in a strong position, Nicolo Canone. If that's enough to push a player over, they should be playing football, not rugby. Nicolo Canone is at fault here for letting go of the man he's lifting. So I just want to highlight that again because I thought that was a ridiculous call, to be honest. But because of Prendergast not getting his kick, Italy get this penalty and they're within 2 points of us. But just to highlight this again, I thought it was a ridiculous call, very soft. He's clearly got eyes for the ball. Now he lets go of it, and now he's bracing himself to come back down. So you see him here, arms are tucked, brushes his elbow. That arm of Canone comes off Andrea Zambonin, and lets go of him. It's a poor lift. He should be holding on to his man. I don't think it's Izuchukwu's fault. Like, he brushes him gently. If that's enough to push a player over, Canone, that's a very poor lift by Nicolo Canone, in my opinion. Yeah, there's never enough pressure. Again, they agree with me. Royal said it. Izuchukwu had to protect himself, like he's fallen. Your instinct is to put your arm up to stop yourself from hurting yourself. Check yourself before you wreck yourself. Pathetic. Really bad. I like the fact that we were contesting these kicks too. That was a good kick and we get up for it. At least we tried. But look at it. From all the chances we had, the four missed tries, we're only 2 points up. After getting a good try, we back it up with a mistake, albeit a very soft one. And now Louis Lyon is coming back onto the pitch and Italy will be restored to 15 men. And I thought that was really good by Lockman. He was getting around the park very well, I have to say. But unfortunately, we didn't nail the fundamentals of the scrum and the line. Well, the lineup was good in fairness. It's just a scrum. So well played. Remember, I was talking about the French game. So when France were actually going up, they weren't going up to compete for the ball and catch it cleanly. They were batting it back and slapping it back. And Casey was alive to it this time, which was really good. He was he was aware. He was waiting for the ball to be batted back so he could catch it, which I thought was very clever. Well played. And then we get quick ball. Ryan carries. He picks and he passes it instead. Sorry. Biggest scrum half. And that's really good round the corner. And as they're saying, really intelligent play by Casey just to be ready for the ball. But I like how we work this. So it's really tight and congested. James Ryan has to go in at scrum half. So it's very tight here, but Darius gives a good pass to Prendergast. So a good pass by Ringrose, lovely ball out the back door. And then we're on the attack again. And then Osborne takes another really good carry. Look at it now. Italy are backtracking. Ferrari having to do the big yards, getting back into defence. This is really good from us. It's very tight round here, but we're working it well. And actually, if you see here, when Prendergast fixes the man, we've a 3-on-2, but it's quite tight down our right hand touchline, so not great. But we get through the phase as well. We do very well. Again, really quick ball. So you look at that, like that's really quick. So Gail Dars gets put to ground, gets it here, and then 4 seconds later, with the ball back. So he hits the ground, and then 1 second, and the ball is pinged across. Really good speed. Really good. Good. Really good carry and pass by Clarkson as well. Like, very good. Just speed. That's what we have. So what Clarkson does really well is he fixes three defenders. Three defenders. Very gammy fingers, so three. Or do it the German way. Thrice. But he fixes all these defenders and gives a lovely ball out the back door. Really like that. Really good pass. It's unfortunate that he can't nail the fundamentals of the scrum because there are some lovely touches in here. And then a good ball into McCarthy. The defenders are up hard on him, but he still fights hard to get over the game line. He does well. Good leg drive. And then look again. So if Ryan comes around the corner, we've one, two, three, four, five. Italy only have four defenders. You know, if we get this ball out quick, we can make that less. So a good sweep and run by Casey. And then the ball goes out, which, it's not too bad. It's Stanis Chugu again because there's Balakoon. No, it's Doris, and he puts the head down and charges. Really good carry. And then we get another good carry. Great hands by Shane. Yeah, Felix Osborne should be taking that one. But look at that position. Like Osborne, it's not the perfect pass, but versus to Shane, I don't think it's a bad one. Yeah, it kind of is a bit fired at him, to be fair. And we can see the scrub. But look at this scrub. They blitz us in this one. They certainly will fancy him. So it's a pretty engage here. And a free kick to Italy. In fairness, again, we take this one really well. Really good take again. And I like that spin just to avoid the collision. So he takes it in and avoids the big heavy contact. And then makes good yards, gets past Ioane. Good clear out. And then look, this is another really good position. We've got our dagger again, and we've got 7 options, 8 if you include Balakoon. And Prendergast gets it, we're wrapping around, so we're creating that overlap. We've got 4, maybe 5 players on 3 defenders. And it's not a bad kick by Lowe, in fairness. It's just that we need to be up further. It's not the worst kick in the world. And he gets a lot of depth on it, but we're just jointed in the line. Good catch down, a good fend. And just fending off people for fun. And then again, let's look. So Italy have a good line here. So they've got, let's look who we've got. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We're all very narrow. We've got another player out. So we've got someone holding the width. Shane on this side. And then is it Osborne holding the width out on the right hand touchline? Which is good. Italy showed up on us here, but we get a good line. What I like is that they're not just automatically giving the ball out the back door. They're taking it into contact like Ryan does here. And then we look to go back this side as well. And Law wins this brilliantly. And that's the thing, we need to be alive when the ball is batted backwards. He takes it in. Good stuff. Doesn't just throw the pass. And that's a really good line there by Osborne. The nice tip on pass. You wonder if that would be playing the nine because if I just look at that again, they're very quick to ping playing the nine. They say that he's part of the rook. So the rule is you can play the nine if he's rooking over, but I think he actually picks it up and Zuliani goes through on him and it looks like he's off his feet. So another questionable call. See the way he comes through, but then again, McCluskey could knock him over as well, so maybe it would have been harsh. Mm, I've seen them given. People are very quick to ping someone taking out the nine or playing the nine in a row. It's like playing the nine, even when he's clearly over it, or he's picked it up and someone tries to take it off him. So we're not making any yards really here. We're just kind of bunched in, nothing really happening. It's like the perfect time to put in another box kick. Yeah, you have to, because we're just being hit backwards. And now they attack. And do you see that? They nearly score a try because we're just going nowhere. We're going through phases and it's just weak. Like it's just one up carries. There's no real fluidity to our attack like there was before. That's a nice piece of play. That kick, the more I look at it, the less great it looks. I guess your kick is only as good as its chase, but we take it back well, though, in fairness. We're just kind of absorbing the hits. This is a good kick. In the end, Ringrose is in a good position, ready to catch it, but we just don't use it afterwards. We take it in again. Yeah, we could even go quick here and give the ball out to Shane because Louis Line is not switched on. Neither is Canone. We're just kind of going through the motion. They're hitting us back every time. We get driven back over our own half. You see, we get driven back again, going absolutely nowhere. So we have to kick. It's loose, and now Italy can counter attack, and they nearly get a try as a result. We got lucky. And then Louis Line, and now it's Gary Ringrose. Yeah, it's just very porous. And when Prendergast is defending this, he needs to not be caught in no man's land or make the hit. He doesn't either in the end. So he probably should be up here. He ends up being too deep, and as a result, he can't defend either. He can't catch the ball, but he's also not far back enough to make the tackle. See, gets caught in no man's land like Osborne was against France several times. Yeah, and he just bursts through that gap. Casey does really well just to trip him up because otherwise they're in for a try. Poor Gary Ringrose gets blindsided again. Turning trying to get the ball to put it straight in top 14. There's Mo. Yeah, waste a lot of time resetting scrums. They both go down, but the ball is there. We got lucky. So that's all right. Good chase again by Balakoon. It's another. Would you count that as a tackle by Prendergast? I don't know if it would. You see how now they're on the up. So they've survived their spell where we're on the attack. And you're always going to get, as they call, purple patches, but we haven't gotten enough points from our purple patch where we're actually on top of Italy, 5 opportunities, only one try and a missed conversion right in front of the posts when Italy had a man in the bin for 10 minutes, and now Italy got a penalty straight after our try because we didn't do well enough. Now, it was harsh in fairness on Cormac as a Chuku, but to only be 5-3 up, considering how much possession we had, with 55% possession in the first half, and they were still ahead of us, so they survived the storm. They weathered the storm brilliantly, and now they're on the attack. So now they're on the up. We have to defend. And now look at the position they're in. So they've got 6 attackers, and we've only got 4 defenders who are very disjointed, not in the flat line that you want at all. Good contest there by Izuchuku to put the pressure on. I would say pile through, put the pressure on them because that's only one hand on the ball and there's a shin in the way. That's a messy ball, and that's exactly what you want to cause for Italy. You don't want to give them easy ball. Well played. See how Izuchuku slows that rook down. That's really good play by him, being a menace at the breakdown. And now we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 Italian players all bunched together. So we can get our nice flat defensive line set. And that's all down to the good work of Cormac Izuchuku. That's why you don't let Italy have easy ball. Look at it now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 players all bunched together. Still. And now it's slow for them. And then a really good tackle here by McCluskey just to shove them backwards. This is exactly where you want to be. It's slow ball. We get a chance to get a rest and just slowly find our feet, line up well, and get ready. We're in a perfect position. 6 players literally all on top of each other. It reminds me of South Park. Everybody back in the gay pile. Here's the gay pile right here. But this is perfect. We've got more men on our feet. We've only got 1 man in that rook, I think, and Italy have 6 men in that rook. That's ideal for us. That means we have 5 extra men, 5 on their feet that can make a tackle. So Italy go to the box kick. They have to do. Well, I stand corrected. You can fairness, you think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Like, how do we get them done so easily? They created an overlap. Really well spotted by Alessandro Fusco. That's why I'm not a scrum half. But 1, 2, 3 defenders here. Like, out of nowhere, Randy Orton. And Italy have 6. They have a 3-man overlap out of nothing. And we were in a good position. I don't know how that happened because that was such a good defensive position for us to be in. When you look at it. But they just hit this space. There's Balakoon. He's far too deep for my liking. He needs to be up helping his defenders out. I'm not a winger, but we need you, Robert. And now they hit the line. And this is not what you want. 3 players attacking against 1 winger. Prendergast actually covers the space well. And they cover across really well, and Balakoon gets into that space. Another missed tackle by Prendergast, though. Another weakness to his game. He gets across well, but he doesn't make the tackle. He slips off far too easily. You see that? So like if we go back, we're in a good position there, really. Because look how many players they have all over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. All over here. I don't know how the overlap was created because we only have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 players. We back off waiting for the box kick. We should be moving out as well, get out wide, but we're not prepared. Like Ringrose is back here. There's that, yeah, Ringrose. Dan Sheehan. I don't know what kind of defensive line that is. You don't need him dropping off because surely James Lowe's already doing that, or Jamie Osborne, the fullback. We're too deep here because I don't see anybody else. I don't see Osborne. I don't see James Lowe, and I don't see Pelican, who's back here. You don't need three players dropping back. It's not good enough, really. We get undone by an overlap because we've too many players too deep. Yeah, because there's no Low there. No Low. Don't see Osborne either with that mop of ginger hair. And Balakoon's here. Far too deep. And then Ringrose is dropping back in as well. He makes the effort to get across Prendergast, but he just gets done so easily. It's weak. And now look, we're still in a good position now. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 defenders. And then Italy have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we're actually in a good position here. 7 attackers versus 8 defenders. That's right. 7 of their attackers against 8 of our defenders. We've got more men. And there's more players out here. But not too bad. Not panic stations. Good low tackle Burns by McCarthy. And then here's where you got to be worried because you've got 1, 2, 3, 4. Balakoon again needs to be up here. Come up. You're too deep. They're all running onto you. That gap is far too big. But he covers it well. As they say, I haven't played winger, so I don't know. Well, I have played once, maybe twice in my life, but just cover that space. Let Jamie Osborne cover in there as the fullback. Only 2 players I ever think need to drop back in. That's the fly half and the fullback. The winger might need to stay deep occasionally, but you need to be up here helping out the defence. Really good tackle by James Ryan to shut the space down. So just highlight that. He does that brilliantly. Good low tackles by Ryan and Connor. Now, like we just see now, Balakoon is over here on the right on his own, and then they've got 3 players unmarked. So we'll play it on. Yeah, Conan realigns well. But you can see them moving across. Like they're putting everyone over here, and we're still only getting 3 men, 3 people across, and Italy are shifting everyone over here. But looks okay. It's all right, this picture. And that's fine. Osborne has a chance now. He's dropped in. So see, that's what I'm saying. Balakoon could be up here because Osborne has dropped in. He's got 1 player there already, and James Lowe tends to drop back. But ideally, I would prefer the wingers to be up and the fullback drop in. Usually the fullback 1 player drops in behind to kind of sweep all this space around here. We're in a good place now, and Lowe actually puts in a lovely kick over the top here. We need more support with him because he wins it back brilliantly. There's no one in behind here for Italy. If Lowe can get his hands on this, which he does, he can then offload to someone, but nobody's with him. We need to be up there. If we can get that offload away, let's just look at it. if he has support, he's away. That offload can go, and he's done it. McCluskey needs to be up there with them. Craig Casey as well. These are backs. They need to be up there supporting them. And look how far away he gets. They need to be with them so we can offload it. It's that Dan Shane in there who's definitely got enough wheels. It might be Thomas Clarkson and Verns, but we get disjointed. And he's on his own. He's isolated. Casey does well. He gets there with them. It's just if it was a little faster, we could have been away. Really good fend by Casey. Hardy little fella. And now we're matched up. So just go through the motions, take the ball in, take the carries, and then box kick. Why not? It's worked before. This is the perfect time because Lowe's made a good break, but Italy have regathered. So now they're back defending. It's kind of slowed down. I've no problem with a box kick there. I'm kind of like, fair enough. We made a good move. We've got Italy rattled. Let's kick it and let's keep the pressure on them. Keep it on them the whole game. Ringrose comes in here, and I think there's a aerial contest in this one, which I thought was perfectly legal. Use Big Stew. Let him do. I thought there was no arms in this. I must say, this looked dodgy to me. I just thought it was boom, shoulder to the head. And I want to just highlight it again to say Holly Davidson, a great representative for how a woman can be a good referee. Not in this game, not against Ireland, but they keep saying, women are discriminated against and women should be able to do this and should be able to do that. Holly Davidson's a great example of when someone is good enough for the job, they're good enough for the job. Nobody has a problem with what people do, but they're idiots, because she's a good referee. Nobody has an issue with her being a woman because she's good at what she does. If you're not good at what you do, it doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman. You're just not good at what you do. Do you know what I mean? I think she's a really good example of a good female referee. But this decision here, I just have to wonder, how is this not? I just thought there was no arms in the tackle. But we'll forgive her it. Not everyone's perfect all the time. And many a ref has given a bad decision against Ireland over the years. Just get myself some more Heineken Zero. I saw that tackle live, and I did think it looked dodgy. But I'm going to look at it again. When he comes in, was there a wrap? I just thought it was like a forearm, and no one looked at it. Even the way he bounces off, the arm is down. It's tucked downwards. If I can get it at the point of contact, that'd be ideal now. Let's have a look. Well, I really want to watch this again because it was a great piece of play. In fairness to Lowe, there's no other options. I think this was the right one. Takes it well. And he gets the offload away. Good fend, really good fend. So it's this man, Lorenzo Canone, the number 8 for Italy. Lorenzo Canone and Big Stew. I just don't see any rap. He's a very good player. He's a powerful athlete, but I just don't see a clear rap here. Yeah, like even look at it. It's a swinging arm up into it. Again, if I can just freeze that at the point of contact. So if we see he's upright as well coming into this. Yeah, like he's upright and he makes a motion like that. For me, there's not a whole lot of a rap. And the fact that McCluskey bounces off him. He's a big man, he's a powerful man, McCluskey. So yeah, I was very dubious about that. And you hear the crowd. Again, Ryan, in fairness, taking another big carry in, just into traffic. As I was saying, perfect time for a box kick. Look at that clear out as well. I didn't notice that live, but that was just a clear out to the back of the head on Caelan Doris. He comes from a distance too. Like Doris goes down here, and Nicotera just hits him in the back of the head. Like, look, the head goes down there. That looked dodgy to me. Few calls now that I was a bit dubious about, but I hadn't really noticed these till I watched the game back. That was very dodgy looking. So we had that carry first of all. Yeah, the forearm goes down on the back of the head here. I don't know how she doesn't pick up. She's looking right at it as well. Maybe Darius is just too nice for his own good. He doesn't complain enough, but that looked dodgy. His head kind of shot back as well. A really good contest here by Ringrose. No foul play, eyes on the ball the whole time. No, it hadn't. Yeah, that looks that good. As they said, a rugby situation. Really good covering by, well, let's look at the collision first and foremost. His eyes are always on the ball. He's always looking up at it. He gets into the air here from a distance. He's clearly not trying to injure the player. And he actually cops a forearm to the head. So just look at the cover tackle here. Really well worked by Thomas Clarkson and Jeremy Lockman. Clarkson here and Lockman comes in. It's not easy when you're dealing with a speedy winger, especially not when you're a front rower. But he does very well. Pins him. And they said it themselves, fair contest. And that's really good. So we've blocked them down. We've pinned them in their own half. Now let's use it. But we lose it. That's the problem. Said he was holding on the ground. Will they score a try off this? Should get someone up. Yeah. Now, to see that line out, how is this a straight throw? So look where Zambonin takes it, his left shoulder, the outside shoulder. Izuchuku gets up and he takes it on the outside shoulder like that. That's a crooked throw all day long. I don't know how she didn't go this one. So look where it's taken. Izuchuku gets up to compete. And the fact that he has to reach across for that shows you it's crooked. Look where he takes it. And she can see this. How that wasn't called a crooked throw. Matthew Carty's looking right at it as well and he doesn't call it. Very poor call. And there were a few now, I have to say. Ireland didn't take their chances, but that was a blatant missed crooked throw. And there's a Chuku goes flying. Again, his lifters let go of him. They really didn't protect him very well. And there's a Chuku goes absolutely flying across here. Just let go of him in the air. And we get him down well. There's three men don't come into the tackle. And we're all backtracking here. Not ideal. Yeah, not a good decision there. And this one as well. So we're talking about some contentious decisions. This one really annoyed me. And then the clear out on Jack Conan afterwards. So we just go through it here. That looked like a croc roll there on Jack Conan. Don't know if we can get it there, but Canone's carry. I feel like he definitely led with the forearm. Can't really see it from that angle. But if you watch Craig Casey gets bounced off and is holding his throat afterwards. He's clearly the one who's come off worse from this. And then Jack Conan goes down and says croc roll. And watch how Jack Conan gets up here. Matthew Carey just looks at him wincingly, like, what do you want me to do about it? See how he's holding his knee there because he was twisted in that. That was never checked. So, didn't like that. Thought it was double standards, to be honest with you. I thought Doris was legal there as well, to be perfectly honest. Looked like he was. In fairness to Doris, he never Doris never releases, so probably a fair call there. Not to be honest. Yeah, no, he definitely was the tackler. Ball gets knocked on, and she calls it back here. She comes to the decision very quick as well. Now look, the rule is that your forearm has to be in by your body, and then you can fend off with it. He's clearly making a motion here, and his forearm hits Casey in the neck. It's the most bullshit yellow card I've ever seen. And as everybody keeps saying, Casey is 5'5", maybe even smaller. How is he supposed to get any lower? How is Canone not dipping into this and leading with the forearm? That's away from the body when he goes into contact, which is illegal. You can't do that. You see from this angle, he crouches into it and he actually initiates the contact with his forearm. Like, look there, even that picture, he's the one who clearly shoves his forearm into Greg Casey. And then Jack Conan is croc rolled after. And Casey's coming in. Yes, he's upright for him, maybe, but he's absorbing all of that tackle, and there's clearly a forearm to his neck. Like, that goes right in under the neck, and he fends him off. Even look at that picture. How is that not an illegal forearm to the neck? Thought Canone was just as much at fault as Casey, if not more. You could say he's fended, but his arm clearly comes away from his body and then he flings him with it. And he crouches down into it. Like, Casey's a very small man. No offense to him, but doesn't show it here. But the arm does go up into the neck, and then he shoves him away. Right there. Bullshit call. Even here, you can see it, like the way the head goes back with Casey. He doesn't catch him with the elbow, but he catches him with his wrist or forearm. See how the head goes back? Great Casey. Thought it was such a stupid yellow card. I don't see how. See here, his head goes back. They score from this. They peel off very easily here, and Prendergast goes in too high. Needs to be under that ball, he's far too high. Lockman should have been more switched on for that one, because Balakoon did very well to tap that back. And you saw for France how well they were all switched on when it happened. They were going to bat the ball backwards and players are ready to catch. Lockman should be switched on for it. It is coming back quite fast, to be fair, but and then we get marmalised at scrum time. They did continue with the drive afterwards here, though, which I thought was bad form from them. They definitely carried on after the ball was gone. She allowed a lot to go on with that, thought it was quite ridiculous. And then here we go through the defence well. And then you look at the tackles made 90 versus 40. 17 tackles missed, but we've 9 missed. So Italy have made over double the amount of tackles we've made, but they haven't missed double. So if they missed double, they would have missed 18 and made 80. It's not good enough from us. We missed too many. They're making more and they have missed more, yes, but 50 tackles more than us and only missing 8 more. It's always a stat that we don't do well in. And here we make a good hit. And here we do well. We just keep fanning out. We get the scrub. You just look at how we get destroyed here. Yeah, so we look at it again. We just get absolutely blitzed. And this is the thing. We wanted to put the ball in, get it off the field ASAP. But watch what happens. Ringrose has to go scrum half. Conan lifts his head up because he just wants to get the ball out, so he's not actually contributing anything to the push here, and we just get blitzed. And when it's gone to 41 minutes, so if we just kick the ball dead half time, we get into the sheds, but we give them easy points here. The ball just needs to go down the channel, in, out, off the pitch. But they go for us here at scrum time and win a good penalty. And we just get completely destroyed. See how we collapsed. Their tails are really up after that. They said it very well. They're so concentrated on getting the ball back to Conan, which is exactly right because they're so concentrated on that. That's why we're focusing on getting the ball in and off. Whereas what we should be doing is making sure we win the scrum first of all, which we don't. And as a result, we get blitzed and we concede more points. So we could have run down the clock for Craig Casey's yellow card, but we didn't. So this was really good goal in defence and fairness. We weathered the storm. So we hold them out well. After conceding them all try, we did really well to hold them out here. Marine, that's who was number 12. Yeah, Leonardo Marine was 12 and Tani was the fullback. Mikulski did brilliantly here. He's such a physical man, big boy, big naughty boy. Gets in, wraps the ball up. Ringrose does really well to help him, and he just strips it off. Really good piece of play by him. Apart from having three of the try assists, when called upon defensively, he does what he needs to do really well. I just love how he grips onto it as soon as that ball comes loose. Very well worked. He did excellent.